Hello, good morning to you. Many thanks for joining us. You're watching Galaxy. Today, coming to you from Galaxy Television. My name is Justin Akadonye.
And he's joined by Uche Onyekulu, like he rightly said, as a good morning. And of course, today being June 5th, a Tuesday, we'll be looking at offer robberies, Saraki to respond in writing. Justin, with what has been going on within the Senate, I cannot but wonder what exactly is going on.
Yes, it's becoming like a bit of a drama per se, because one will be tempted to ask, and when would all of this end? First of all, Dino Melaya was also in the news, then now it is Saraki. But right now he's been asked now to tender a written, information concerning his, alleged involvement in that particular crime, within 48 hours, in as much as he was summoned initially by the Inspector General of Police.
And I'm thinking, is it legally right, excuse me, is it legally right to respond in writing? Well, maybe that's why we have lawyers in the House of Claims.
Well, this is like a whole turnaround, because there was a meeting between the Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, of course, the IGP was there, and the DSS plus the Senate President. All of this were just to forge ahead as this particular allegations against the Senate President. We'll be looking at all of those matters plus other issues on the show this morning. But let's just give you a bit of a snippet concerning how this whole stuff started. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
The Nigerian police has invited Senate President Bukola Saraki for questioning after members of a criminal gang implicated him following a brutal bank robbery operation that left 33 people dead. First Public Relations Officer Jimoh Moshood extended the invitation to the Senate President while parading members of the robbery gang in Abuja on Sunday. He said 22 suspects were being arrested over the robbery of 6 offer banks, including 5 ringleaders who alleged Saraki's involvement in the gang. Moshood disclosed that the gang also admitted and confessed to having been sponsored with firearms, money, and operational vehicles by the Senate President, Senator Bukola Saraki, and the Governor of Kwara State, Alhaji Abdulfatah Ahmed. According to him, a Lexus Jeep purportedly owned by Saraki and used during the robberies had been traced to the government office in Ilorin, Kwara State's capital.
Attack on the police division of and how they killed the 33 innocent person during the bank robbery. The 5 gang leaders further confessed during investigation that they are political thugs under the name Youth Liberation Movement, aka Good Boys. They admitted and confessed, and with a volunteer written statement, to have been sponsored with firearms, money, and operational vehicles by the Senate President, Senator Bukola Saraki, and the Governor of Kwara State, Alhaji Abdulfatah Ahmed.
Moshood disclosed many items recovered from the gang, saying investigation is ongoing and effort is being intensified to arrest other suspects still at large.
Investigation is ongoing and effort is being intensified to arrest other suspects still at large. All suspects involved will be arraigned in court on completion of investigation.
The embattled Senate President, who is currently facing graft charges, last month hinted of a plot by the police to implicate him in the robberies, but the police dismissed the allegation. In a special announcement during plenary, Saraki said a group of suspects arrested for cultism in Kwara State were moved to Abuja to have them alter their original statement alleging he's been an accomplice of a crime.
The information that he has is for them to try how they will alter their statements already made in Lorry and try and implicate the state government, and particularly myself. I felt that as we speak now, these suspects are already here in Abuja here, that this act of, I don't know whether I call it desperation, blackmail, intimidation, all actions to undermine our democracy and rest.
And I will advise that in view of the fact that the personality of the Senate President is the one that is in position, we absolve you of the powers to constitute that committee, and then you step down for the purpose of the Deputy Senate President to preside and establish that committee so that we can establish its impartiality.
In summing up the deliberations on the issue, the lawmakers reached a consensus that a high-powered ad hoc committee be set up with a view to engaging the president.
I think we must learn as elder statesmen in our past experiences. The theatrics is not what we need, this kind of situation.
I think the idea of meeting Mr. President, to me, is the best. Mr. President is the father of everyone.
Instead of setting up an ad hoc committee here to probe, he has suggested that we should visit the president, and I agree with that. And I'm suggesting that the leadership of the National Assembly, comprising both the House and the Senate, should go and meet Mr. President on this matter.
Meanwhile, Bukola Saraki has denied having any connection with the robbery. In a statement released by his special advisor, Media and Publicity, Yusuf Olaniyonu, Saraki described the allegations as baseless and another ploy by the police to implicate him by all means.
All right, welcome back. It's still Galaxy. Today, if you've just joined us, we're looking at the robbery allegation as regards the Senate President and all the matters arising. You just watched that report with the force spokesperson talking about how he was, allegedly mentioned in that particular robbery incident in Kwara State, and of course, where the Senate President sometime last month alleging that there was a plot, to get him involved in that whole matter. We'll be looking at all of those issues on the show this morning. We have two lawyers joining us this morning. We have Adekunle Ojo. He is the former chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association Ikeja chapter.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
And we also have Barrister Kunle Oshibogun, Young Progressive Nigerians Initiative, right here in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you. Okay, I'd just like us to go straight to the point. I mean, the Senate President has been summoned by the police, but then he's been told to respond by writing. And I was thinking, is it legally right to be summoned? There's a case or an alleged case at hand, and you're being told to respond, and you're told to respond by writing. Is it legal to do that? Not coming in person, but written otherwise. Okay, because I'm wondering if it's an exceptional case for him or it's just a legal thing. Let's start with you, sir.
Well, I think basically, we are living in a very peculiar country. That's the truth. At times, the law rules when the commoners are involved, okay. And when it is perceived that some sacred cows are involved, then perhaps there's this tendency to water down the true letters of the law. For me, it's an aberration. Not that it doesn't happen, but then look, if a man, if you are investigating a criminal allegation, then definitely you need to ask, you need to find out, you need to do your investigations. And one of the things you're supposed to do is invite whoever is involved. But then for me, if you now ask a man, give us a defense to what? A defense to what allegation? What is it that you have alleged? Has he been allowed to have a one-on-one with the man who made allegations against him? Oh, you sent me to go and do this. You didn't send me to go and do this. I think these are things that should be put in proper perspective. But unfortunately, they are saying that he should defend. I wouldn't know what they have done. I wouldn't know what they have not done. But for me, it looks like one of the aberrations that we have seen in recent times. And ordinarily, I would have been more at home with the invitation that was sent to him and said, yes, come around. There is nothing wrong in writing to anyone. In fact, you can even ask the sitting president to come and explain certain things. For as long as he enjoys immunity against prosecution, he does not enjoy immunity against investigation. I'm talking about president.
Of the nation in any way, because for someone who is the number 3 person in the country and asking him to come and answer questions where he was allegedly mentioned to be part of a robbery. Yes. I mean, it doesn't dent the image of the country.
No, it's not really about denting the image of the country. Rather, there is an allegation, whether it is founded or otherwise.
Yes.
And it is good for the image of the country that such allegation is investigated. And it is better for the image of the country that the man that is in the eye of the storm, the third, the number 3 citizen, submit himself. That will give a better impression of what we are in this country, that we are law-abiding people. For me, rather than diminishing the image of the country, rather it's a plus that, look, we could ask ourselves necessary questions. Okay. For me, no one should be victimized unnecessarily. No one should be blackmailed. But whether we like it or not, the law must be obeyed. Okay, Barrister Shibobu, now,
still talking about this matter, a school of thought believes it could be seen as a personal vendetta. You know the matters arising from the Senate, someone in the Inspector General of Police, and his refusal per se to appear in person, and all of that. A lot of people are saying that it could be some sort of a personal vendetta. Plus, right now, some are saying that it is the police trying to, try, the Senate President in the media in this particular case.
I'll start by, first of all, applauding the good officers of the police force for the efforts they've done with the offer of robbery. It was a case that I know a lot of us thought was going to be beyond them. And unfortunately, the politicking is gradually taking the shine of the hardworking officers. Now, if you ask me, I'll start by saying, in what capacity was the invitation sent to the Senate President? Is it as a suspect or as a witness? Now, if your name is mentioned in a statement, doesn't necessarily translate to you being a suspect. And since I know the investigation is still going on, I would say we shouldn't jump to conclusions yet. I know the Senate President has recently, I think it was in the news yesterday, that he told his ADC to go and collect the letter. So it was also obvious that as at the time the report or the PRO of the Police Commission had made that statement on air.
It was not actually invited.
He hadn't been invited yet. No. Then we have a U-turn where he's been told to write a written statement.
In 48 hours.
In 48 hours. So that tells me that most likely he's not a suspect. He may be a witness. The fact that your name is mentioned in a statement doesn't necessarily mean
he was alleged to have sponsored those folks.
No, if I remember clearly, and I stand to be corrected, the allegations was that there are people known to him.
Okay, yes.
Yes, so to the fact that people are known to you doesn't mean you're involved in their daily or in the illegal acts they've done. So that's where I'm coming from, that it's for the police to thoroughly investigate this. And if I had the opportunity to advise them, I'll have told them they should have done this discreetly and not put it into the public media, because everybody knew that a month before today, or before this thing broke, this news broke, we knew that the Senate President had cried wolf, whereby he said the police were coming after him. I think that should have prompted them to do their underground investigation before coming to the media and making such a bold statement as saying they're inviting number 3 man.
Okay, sorry to butt in here, but my own is, the offer thing happened several weeks ago, and I was wondering why the investigation, or why it took so long to be able to allegedly link the Senate President to these robbers, and also why, it's just a question of why it came up after he declared that the IGP is a threat to democracy. Now, looking at this, I'd like to call it a game now. It looks like it's a game. People getting back and probably trying to put someone in the spotlight. What would you say, or how would you address this from the eye of the law, where the third citizen of the country is allegedly linked to robbers? And from the look of things, these guys didn't just rob offer. It looks like it's something they've been into. So what relationship could he be sharing with them?
If I may respond to that, it's quite unfortunate that the Senate President finds himself in this kind of mess. And I know a lot of politicians also are associated with very strange fellows. So it's not something new in our current climate.
But is it legally right?
It's not right, and it's not proper. As lawyers, we know that there are certain individuals you shouldn't be seen around with, and the same way with judges. And I believe as a number 3 man as well, or as a legislature, there are certain people that shouldn't be around you. That gives that aura around your office.
So would it be right to say that this investigation probably was delayed simply because of probably rift going on between the Senate and the police. Because I'm wondering why is coming up now? Why is the Senate president linked to these people after they've had series of issues between Dino Melaye and the police with the Senate? I don't know if you understand.
No. For me, really, I think we need to really get to a stage, a level, that we don't read unnecessary meanings to situations. Okay. For me, let's build institutions. If the police are doing their job, so be it. Let them do it and do it very well. What really matters to a good number of us is that no one must be unjustly victimized. Let the law take its course. So at the end of the day, it will be seen, it will be apparent to the whole world that you have done what you are supposed to do. You see, having said that much, for me, I think we should give even the Senate president some benefit of the doubt, because as at today, he has not said anything concerning this gentleman. He has not told us whether the acquaintances or otherwise. But then, you see, for the governor of Kwara State, I think he has even let us into a little of the relationship that they might have. Because he said, yes, we gave vehicles to people. We did some poverty alleviation, empowerment thing and all whatnot. And that, look, how does it become an offense if the vehicle that we gave out or whatever was used for some heinous activities? But then it speaks volume. That's, for me, it speaks volume. Okay. Because basically it has more or less used without necessarily having to indict anyone here now. Because like my brother said, no one knows who is going to be used as a witness, and no one knows who is going to be a suspect at the end of the bed. But as it is now, that has established that there is a link, and it's a signal. You see, and somebody said something not quite long ago, and he said it emphatically. He said, we all spent money, we all bribed voters. So meaning that we all have talks, we all have so many other things, and we need to grow beyond this.
All right, barristers, we'll still come back to you, but let us just move on straight to Abuja. We have another lawyer and also an activist joining us, Frank Tete. Many thanks for being a part of Galaxy today. Looking at this matter critically, a whole lot of people have said there could be some sort of political undertone to all of this. Remember the fact that Dino Melaye was also alleged to have been involved in some sort of crime. Then it was Sheikh Husani. Now, the Senate president, what would you say as regards this? Some people are saying, doesn't the IGP have any other move or tactic?
Well, I think, by the way, firstly, let me thank you for having me. But I'm so eager to let us know that we are taking politics too far, and we are becoming less and less professional in the way we handle security matters. I also think that it's quite sad that we keep allowing these dramatic affairs to take over, become more important than the issues of governance. I am very, very sad about that. For example, whereas we know how the intractable herdsmen crisis has embarrassed every Nigerian, where we daily wake up to news of herdsmen attack, whereas things that should actually matter to us as a people really do not longer matter to us, and then things that ought not to matter now become what is described as being in the front burner. Firstly, I want to say that, again, I am sure you know my position, that I believe police powers should not be used as a means of unnecessarily carrying out political persecution. And this is what is playing out again. Firstly, the Senate president being the leader of the new PDP, and knowing that there is a crisis, we have seen that the operators of the presidency, the handlers of the president, have always used the presidential muzzle to deal decisively with opposition elements and dissenting elements. Before I actually say something, I want us to know that those in the opposition are also citizens of Nigeria. And when we copied presidential federalism from the US, we should have also copied the culture where a president takes responsibility for the protection of those who are also in the opposition, those who don't agree with him, they are not to be treated as anathema or be treated as enemies of the state, and then with to the extent of using every particular resource to move against them. Now, we must get something very clear in the case of Saraki. He saw it coming because it was a very cheap pattern that has been established, like you mentioned, regarding the invitation of Senator Shehu Sani when he became a dissenting voice with regards to issues in APC. So it happened to Senator Dino Melai. And the painful thing is this. You know, where political correctness now determines our prosecutorial objectives, that becomes very sad. Let me attempt to take a look at this from the eye of criminal procedure. The fact that someone mentions another person, because this trend is very dangerous, very, very dangerous. So it also means that anybody who wants to implicate any other person simply has to mention the other person's name, and the police would not show some measure of discretion in exercising restraint before going to press, before even harassing or embarrassing or inviting the person. I mean, this trend is becoming worrisome, and this, as we go into 2019, this is what we will see more, and citizens should learn to resist it. I'll tell you this. In 2009, when Boko Haram actually started, when Mohammed Yusuf, the founder of the movement, it has a very long name which I can't mention now. You know, it was directly connected with the then governor of Borno State, Ali Modu Sharif. And to the extent that his own extrajudicial killing was also, linked one way or the other to the activities of the then governor of Borno State, Ali Modu Sharif. Ali Modu Sharif was governor and eventually left as governor, so he lost his immunity. But how has the Nigerian state dealt with Ali Modu Sharif's connection with Boko Haram? Boko Haram has been the most ravaging force ever against this country after the Civil War. But you see, there was no need to unnecessarily exacerbate the polity or that region by also realizing that Ali Modu Sharif has his own followers and then creating unnecessary tension. It was not necessary. Rather, the government at that time, at those times, I would say, because we had the government of Yar'Adua and then that of Goodluck Jonathan, dealt with the matter as it deserved. They didn't need to carry out any form of political vendetta or attempt to deal decisively or necessarily with any person. What I'm trying to say is that I think I will agree with my learned friend there that the police was unnecessarily hasty by going to the press. This is the Senate president, and we must also know that governance has a culture, that we have a political culture. We can't afford to begin to, permit me to say, rubbish our institutions, rubbish our personalities. Let me tell you this, no matter how comical we have made our senators and the House of Representative members to become in recent times, no matter how, these are all supposed to be honorable men to the positions to which many ordinary Nigerians would aspire to become. However, we witnessed a situation where this government came in and invaded judges and the judges' homes, and you see, it's a pattern, ridiculing authorities, ridiculing personalities, and then what you have, society begins to lose its value and ethos. So I think that clearly, I want to say that the police, they lost it, was clearly unprofessional. It didn't act in the interest of the overall, the overall interest of our polity by going to public against the third person of governance, as the person of the Senate president, thereby reducing everything to politics. It's very, very sad. I think that I get feelers that the police is calling itself to order. I do not. Watching the proceedings, which Galaxy TV has well edited and played very well because the successions were quite relevant. You find that they were all in consensus that they should go and beg the president. That was practically what we were saying. Go and beg the president. We are not at his mercy. Can you imagine that? That the president actually controls the police, or rather the presidency, because if you consider the personality of the president, you would wonder whether he would go to the extent of playing dirty politics of using state institutions against perceived enemies. Now, we cannot live in a police state where everybody's afraid of the police, or everybody is afraid to criticize the government, and doing so would amount to the one allegation or the other from nowhere being made against you. And that this palpable fear that is gripping this country is sending very dangerous signals. And we can't afford the reenactment of 1984 when Muhammadu Buhari was military of the state, where journalists were afraid, musicians were afraid, writers and commentators were afraid. We cannot afford that. But that's where we're getting to. The Senate president should have at least been accorded some measure of honor by being discreetly interrogated in his office, possibly, and not. We can't make it laughable. I agree with my learned friend who said that it sends the signal that we are a law-abiding country. For goodness' sake, we are not a law-abiding country. So this is not the right time to send that signal. This is the signal rather we are sending is that we are a state where we ride roughshod of law, where political correctness matters, and that if you're not on the right side of the political divide, the police or other institutions of state will be used against you. That is the signal we are sending.
All right, many thanks to you. Just before we'll let you go, just very quickly, hypothetically, if the Senate President had been summoned and of course arrested, what charges would have been preferred against him? Just very quickly, hypothetically, if the Senate President had been summoned and of course arrested, what charges would have been preferred against him?
I mean, why should I conjure or conjecture or imagine the possible charges? Certainly, in my perception, no charges can actually be made against the Senate President. Why? Look, anybody, even the Senate President's children or son, could do anything. Look, in Nigeria, we have what we call personal criminal responsibility. Those men who were involved in that robbery should be adequately dealt with according to law. But the fact that they were one way or the other linked to the Senate President, either by blood, either by political connection, either by employment, does not in any way connect the Senate President to that robbery. But let's imagine this, which is unimaginable. The Senate President, with the large amount of budget that he controls as the chairman of the National Assembly, as the leader of the National Assembly, why would the Senate President finance some small boys to go and rob a bank and thereby kill his own constituents? Look, we have not lost our sense of reasoning. We haven't. So, you see, when you link these things, it's too closely. The nexus to this political, maneuvering, this political between the political gladiators is too close. And these people should spare us. They should spare us and look at their counterparts abroad. Let us see how governance is being run. These men, we have allowed politics to go beyond what is necessary. And as citizens, I think that we too, we are very docile. We do not even know what we want. We've been taken for a ride, and I agree, because when the citizens get so punished by being deprived of social amenities and basic things like peace, security, and other things, you find that all they need to do is just struggle to survive. So the citizens don't even care, don't even realize that they need to strive for a better standard of governance. This is not governance where we wake up one day and every other day, and we hear.
Many thanks. Well, that's as much as we can take from Abuja at this particular time. I want to say many thanks for your input and your thoughts concerning all these allegations concerning the Senate President. Frank Tete is a lawyer and an activist. We'll be going to Ibadan in a moment, but just before we do that, I just want to get more reactions here from Lagos.
Lagos, yeah.
I actually do appreciate where my learned friend's coming from, and I think to add to that, what I would say is there's a need to depoliticize certain key officers, and that is the Office of the Inspector General of Police, the Attorney General of the Federation and States, and also the Auditor General of the Federation and States. I think these three offices should be professional, independent offices to be allowed to work and perform their duties professionally. I think it's obvious from the submission of my learned friend there that there are political intrigues behind the Saraki invitation.
Okay.
And it's quite unfortunate. Why? Because, like I said, some officers of the police force have worked hard in bringing these boys in. Now, the mere mention of the name Saraki has now made it into a media show, right? Taking the glamour off the efforts of those officers. And I also realized that, unfortunately, recently there was also a prison break somewhere in Niger, which is also put in the side burner. That should be major news now, because we have over 100 criminals running loose. But it's not been making airwaves. Why? Because the Senate president has been invited. And those are the issues that I think we need, and why I am strongly of the opinion that once we can depoliticize these officers and let them function professionally without a call from the president saying, oh, arrest him, but don't arrest him, send him a written invitation, don't send him a written invitation, then, you know, we can then maybe progress as a country. Yeah, that's my opinion, and I hope the relevant, and I'm happy it's actually the Senate president, because he has the powers, right, to amend these laws. The Senate and the legislature, they have the powers. They should review these laws, the powers that allow the IG to be only answerable to the president. It's wrong. One man cannot control the entire security apparatus of the nation. It's an aberration. And unfortunately, right, you could see the declining state of security in the country. Prison breaks, murders, assassinations, robberies. It's beyond one man. Okay. There's a need to decentralize the security system. And until we do that and take our security seriously, I'm scared for the days ahead.
Okay, Barrister Ojo, I want you to still comment, and precisely again with the alleged backing of the presidency on this.
Well, for me, I don't really thrive in conjectures, insinuations. Let us approach issues the way it appears. What we have today, yes, we know that the powers of the president is enormous. He controls so many things, and it shouldn't be. I want to agree with that. But then beyond that, if the situation was such that allegations were made, Saraki's name was mentioned, or whoever's name is mentioned, and the police refuses to act on it, it is these same Nigerians that will come out to say, oh, look, it's because Saraki is involved, that you are not doing anything. It's because Dogara is involved, that they are not doing anything. That means that if it were to be commoners, you would have done more than this. And if you imagine that, again, we are talking about people who have lost their lives, about 33, perhaps due to the armed robbery. No one has, if even from what I read in the papers, no one has alleged that Saraki sent them to rob. They never said so. But they said they were political talks to Saraki. They were political talks to Ahmed. As it is, it's clear from all the indications.
But being a political talk of Saraki and Governor Ahmed, what does it really indicate?
No, well, if they were political talks to Saraki and they were political talks to Ahmed, and perhaps crime can never be statute bad. If what you did was done 20 years ago, and we are just getting to find out now, does that mean that it shouldn't be investigated? Okay. The police are not saying that you did it today or you didn't do it today. But then the question is this: if certain things were done while you were still political talks to this set of persons, must it not be investigated? I am aware that today now that we have DNA in thriving in UK and all whatnot. Okay. Certain crimes that were committed long ago that they couldn't link to certain persons, but because of DNA findings now, they are able to link them back. They are bringing them back to come and answer. So I think, for me, there is nothing wrong in a man being asked questions. More so, this boy said, we worked for you. And somebody came out to say, yes, we gave you vehicle, but we did not ask you to go and use it to rob. Okay. Must it not be investigated?
Okay, Barrister, just hold your thought. We'll still talk some more. It's still Galaxy today, and we are looking at the allegations against the Senate President concerning the bank robberies. We'll join Ibadan in a moment, but we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back to join us again. All right, welcome back. It's still Galaxy today. We're going to Ibadan right now. We have yet another legal practitioner joining us, Dr. Nurini Adeniran. Many thanks for joining us on Galaxy today. We're looking at the whole allegation concerning the Senate President and of a bank robbery. What were your initial thoughts concerning this?
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, when criminal investigation is being carried out, I don't think there's any sacred cow allowed by the law. So in the first instance, there is nothing wrong in the police investigating, especially when the names of the Senate President or whoever is mentioned in the course of the investigation. The first and foremost, the major problem we have here is that a lot of issues in Nigeria are being politicized. And it is also uncalled for the police to go all in the air in the name of inviting the Senate President. There is nothing wrong in inviting the Senate President, because if he has been mentioned, he has to answer some questions. And what exactly was the allegation made against the Senate President and others? The suspects say that the Senate President actually sent them on that errand to go and rob and kill. Whatever he might have said to the police want to corroborate or find out what the truth is from the Senate President. And again, this is not the first time this kind of thing will happen in Nigeria. Remember, there was a time in the early 70s, late 60s to early 70s, when a famous politician, S.T. Redden, and a police officer, Abidogun, were allegedly involved in a robbery matter. I think it's in Kwara State too, around Pasita area or something there. At that time, invited, they were questioned. Eventually, they were found culpable, and they were taken and accordingly jailed. And they were convicted. So what I'm saying in essence is that it is even in the best interest of Nigeria, in the best interest of the federal government, and in the best interest of the Senate President himself, that he submit himself for questioning with the police. But on the other hand, too, the police should be very careful by not allowing itself to be used to settle political scores. You see, why tongues are wagging is simply because of the previous experiences that have been seen in this country, that whoever is seen not to be on the stage with the policies of the federal government or against the interests of the diplomatic personnel at the federal level are always being witch-hunted for one reason or the other. While we believe that criminal matters must be adequately handled according to the provisions of the law. So the Senate President does not enjoy immunity even against prosecution, not against investigation. Even those that have immunity against prosecution do not have immunity against investigation. Anybody can be invited, anybody can be investigated. But one thing I know is that it should be a setup, and the fact that these people are known to the Senate President or they have some relationship before does not immediately translate into the Senate President having the knowledge or conniving with this character to go and do various crimes committed. So all this must be thoroughly handled by the police, and police should also be aware of the fact that Nigerians are watching and the international community are also watching. So we should not do anything that will further tarnish the image of this great nation. So in other words, what I'm saying is that it is not out of point for anybody to be invited and investigated, but at the same time, let that investigation follow the due process of the law, and let those whoever has been found guilty or culpable be made to face the music by facing the law at the appropriate quarters by being charged to court. But if eventually mere knowing somebody or the fact that somebody was with somebody does not mean that that particular person knows or have knowledge of what it is. I think what the law will determine at the law court is whether the person that have been mentioned, the Senate President and others that have been so mentioned by this suspect, really have the knowledge of this crime, participated in it, conspired or connived with this suspect to commit this particular offense. And again, we should also not lose the sight that when these suspects were cornered or rounded up, they might be thinking of way to get out of the whole thing, and thinking that okay, maybe if we involve people with big names, maybe we can be set free or something. We should not also lose sight of that. But on the long run, the position of the law...
Button now. Dr. Noid, if I have to button now, let us look at some political undertone to all of this. There was a meeting between the Vice President and the DSS, and of course the NPDP were supposed to have a meeting. They actually pulled out of those meetings. Right now there is this talk, seeming speculations that the presidency is hugely involved in all of this saga. What does all of this entail really for 2019?
Well, you see, like I said earlier on, we have to ensure that we separate politics completely from this. But if one way or the other, the political personnel at the federal level are involved in this matter, or there's a gang up to possibly tarnish the image of the Senate president, or to silence him one way or the other, it is not good for the democracy of this country. We should also not forget the fact that this Senate president has always been in the eyes of the storm in many cases. Don't forget about the issue of the Code of Conduct Tribunal. Don't forget the issue of forgery, and now the robbery cases. So all this, we have to be sure that the man actually is involved in the matter. If it's investigated and is found to be guilty, fine. Let the law take its course. But if it were to be some political gang up somewhere, I think we have to watch it. And more importantly, what is happening under this administration has always been a source of concern to everybody, because of all sorts of political intimidation, political harassment of the perceived political opponent, whether within the same party or outside the party of the federal of the present administration. It is important that we don't play politics with this. Nigerians will not be happy that these things they play politics, because we really want to know and be very sure that if anybody, no matter how highly placed, is involved in this heinous crime, that person should be accordingly dealt with according to the dictates of the law. But if nothing of such happens, if only because you want to settle political score, we now try to indict somebody, involve somebody, or implicate somebody, that would not be in the best interest of anybody. So it is important that whoever are in charge do the needful and ensure that the real processes of the laws are followed, and the culprits in this matter are brought to book without minding whose ox is God.
For your input, that was Dr. Nureni Adeniro, a legal practitioner, and he joined us from Ibadan to look at all of those matters concerning the Senate President. We do appreciate your views this morning. All right, back here in Lagos, we still have two lawyers here with us. We still have Barrister Kunle Oshibogu and, of course, Barrister Adekunle Ojo. Let us still talk about politics, because 2019 is just around the corner and there's no way we can separate all of this. Some people are just saying that the Senate President seems to be in the eye of the storm. First of all, it was the declaration of assets to several ones. Now it is this linkage to the offer bank robbery. Now the NPDP, they are actually not very happy with all of this scenarios playing out, and they are actually pulling out of talks. I asked the lawyer in Ibadan the same question, but I want to get your specific reactions concerning how it will play out in 2019 with all of these matters, presenting themselves.
Well, my take on that really is there was 2011.
Okay.
There was 2015.
Yes, there was.
There's going to be 2019.
Yes,
and whether we like it or not, we will cross that order. Okay. My position has always been, I've had insinuations that somebody was being prosecuted because he belonged to the other side.
Yes.
And is being haunted by EFCC for one thing or the other. The question that I ask is this: I'm sitting in my house. Could an allegation be made against me by EFCC that I embezzle government money? It's impossible. So if for any reason, Jang, whoever, you talk about so many other politicians who belong to the other side now, if they are being made to face the prosecution one way or the other, someone else will come tomorrow too, who will ask this set of people that are in power questions. That's the truth. Several years back, I can tell you that the Senate president that we're talking about, even a few months back, it was almost untouchable. But because there was, things were going smoothly. But then questions are being asked now. My worry really is this: when there is a need, for the law to take its course. Let it be. It doesn't matter. You can call it selective. Yeah. It will turn around against you some other time as well. So for me, really, the hype, 2019, I'm not too worried about it, because for me, if there is a need for prosecution, do we now say for the fear of 2019, the man must not be prosecuted? Because there is this blackmail almost everywhere. Oh, he's been haunted because he belonged to PDP, because he belonged to a faction of APC. Let us build institutions. You see, I agree with my learned friend that, look, let's look at some of our laws. Let's be able to separate some of these offices that are attached to the apron of those that are in government. Yes, I agree in total with that. But what we have to do, even like he rightly mentioned, people that are supposed to effect some of these things, they are in power. One way or the other, it is when they are facing the hottest part of the law that is, oh, we don't like what is going on. But the moment they are on the other side, they are at ease with it. I've met someone before, I discussed with her, I said, look, this position of Attorney General of the Federation and the Minister for Justice, is it not high time that it should be separated? The man agreed with me in total. But the moment he becomes the Attorney General of the Federation, secondly, I can see that no, there is no way these two offices could be separated. And that's the kind of things that we have it. Let us build institutions. For me, 2019 is not relevant when a man has to be prosecuted or investigated. Let it be.
Okay, Barrister Kule, you will react, but just to remind our viewers that they can be a part of this discussion, please send us some SMS to the number now being displayed on the screen. You can also interact with us via our various social media platforms using the hashtag Galaxy Today. Would love to read from you this morning. More comments from you, please.
Yes, you know, challenges are there to improve people and improve systems. I've seen this dispensation as a challenge. They face quite a number. But unfortunately, I haven't seen the improvements before 2015 and now. So legislations that we all knew were needed to be addressed or changed are still there. And that's why, like my learned friend has said on the right here, that where a man needs to be investigated, let him be investigated. There is no lawyer or any citizen, I want to believe, would want to stop an investigation. But the problem with our system is that it's highly politicized. And to that extent, the issue to be addressed is how do you depoliticize it so that if the Senate President is invited for questioning, it's not seen as the presidency haunting him. If Mr. President is invited for questioning, it's not seen the other way too. So my submission is, it's high time that we take our institutions seriously. These separate offices, let's build them and empower them with the capacity to work professionally without the waiting for that order from the executive or Mr. President to say, go or don't go. I know there are quite a number of cases, EFCC cases that were swept under the carpet and are now being brought up again because of the upcoming elections. Ideally, these cases should run their course and shouldn't take, I think, about 9, 10 plus years that they've been in there. So I would say, let us put that challenge back on the Senate President and members of the National Assembly to look at our laws. That's what they're elected for. Look at these laws and see how they can improve our system so that, you know, we get better results post-2019.
All right.
Okay. I agree with him. You see, beyond even looking at the law, we need to have a better orientation. You see, something happened recently and it still baffles me. We had some new courts opened in Lagos, some special courts for financial offenses, I mean, I know whatnot. Do you imagine that the man who came to do the cutting of the tape was the EFCC chairman? How could that be, for God's sake? Because basically, he's likely going to be the chief prosecutor of almost all the cases in that court. I think we just need to be careful. Perhaps it was done, it could be an oversight on the part of the judiciary. But you don't have to give what belongs to you to the other side. Let it be seen by everyone that, look, I'm going to court to have my day, and I'm going to come out of it either as a guilty person or otherwise. And then, fear for fear, I will agree with whatever it is. But then you already, you see, there are certain things that we do that ought to be.
But do you think that with what is going on now is going to help put most of our leaders in position, knowing that they're being checkmated now, you don't know who they're coming for next.
Yeah.
And so, do you think this is going to help them checkmate themselves and then align themselves right?
No, I think basically, like I just said, let's be careful, let's be watchful. You see, I want to say one thing. You see, like Yorubas will say, they say a pounded yam made 20 years ago can still burn the fingers. Right? You see, meaning that, look, what you are doing, there's this tendency that you may not be able to do it alone. If I'm a governor and is the auditor general, and I used him to do certain things, he comes out some other time and say, you did this. Like the issue that we are talking about now, like the thuggery of a thing. One of the aspirants in Ekiti State, in fact, I doffed my heart for him. He came out. He said, we all spent money. The man lost the contest, and people were saying it was monetized. He said, we all monetized it. And that these are things that should stop. If we, for as much as we have people like that coming out to say, we monetize, and it shouldn't be. We hire thugs, it shouldn't be. Because at the end of the day, somebody comes around to say, look, I did not do it, but you could have done it alone. If I were to be a politician and I hire thugs to go and deal with my opponent, and he loses his life in the course of that, the man who helped me might come around tomorrow and say, oh, Mr. Ojo sent me. So I think we just need to be careful. Let's play the game the way it is, and let us strengthen our institutions. Let us, so that even investigation can be much less rigorous for us, because you are captured maybe by CCTV and so many other things while you are doing it and all whatnot. I think we really need to search our conscience.
Okay, Barrister Oshivogo, could there be or could there have been a better way by the police, to have handled this particular matter, judging by how it has played out so far?
Surely there is. First, if I was to advise the police, I would say the PRO's statement was wrong. A courtesy call to the Senate President, telling him to come to the office, or even send a letter to him, inviting him, asking him basic questions. Do you know this gentleman? Because, like I said, because you're invited doesn't mean you're a suspect. We should first clear that air. Right? You can be used as a witness. Or this gentleman said they're in possession of your car. Was your car stolen? Did you give them your car? Those are questions I want to believe the investigating officers want to ask. Now, the only way you can ask and get cooperation is if you extend that courtesy. But right now, I would say the PRO was wrong.
Okay.
He shouldn't have invited the Senate President on national TV. That's not proper. And I think aside from that, since there's a written request now, right, I hope there'll be questions sent in addition to that written request, and not just ask him to just write a statement. Ask him questions, interrogate the gentleman, and let him go. Okay. If he hasn't got any question to answer.
All right, let us take one or two more comments so we could just conclude. Why didn't the IGP attend to the Senate's call, and now he wants the Senate leader to come? It is an indictment. I see a big fight. That was from Mike here in Lagos, and this one says, okay, this government has disappointed us. Okay, this has nothing to do directly with what we are discussing right now. There are just, okay, you need to just manage your thoughts well. I can't really read this right now. This one says there is nothing stopping the Senate President from being quizzed on the allegations leveled against him or leveled against him. However, the police should be professional in carrying out their investigations. This one is from Comrade Tunde Akintilebo from Ile-Ife in Osun State. More comments coming. I believe that the relevant authorities should investigate very well and ensure that whoever the fault or is faulted should be prosecuted, as the law says, from Ihani Onoha. Okay, let us see. Do we have time? Let's just take one more. There's nothing bad about inviting the Senate President. Let him come and defend himself, because nobody is above the law. Morning. It is sad that in this country the truth is ignored. For God's, okay, you are almost swearing here. I can't take that particular comment. The police are totally politicized, okay? My opinion is this: even if the Senate President had not sent the thugs for the robbery operation, why should the number 3 citizen of the country, okay, be, okay, I didn't get that. Maybe you want to complete your thoughts and would take it, maybe not today because we are completely out of time. This one, lastly, please, who is above the law when the crime had been committed? Many thanks to all of you who are sending messages, but we can't take any more because we are completely out of time. But just keep on interacting with us via our various social media platforms. We must rest it at this particular time. The case is still developing. As matters arise, we will be discussing it on this particular platform. Many thanks to you, barristers.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming. And of course, from Abuja, we have Frank Tete, who's a lawyer and activist, and Ibadan, we have Dr. Nureni Adeniro, a legal practitioner. Of course, here in the studio, we have Barrister Dekunle Ojo, former NBA Ikeja chairman, and Barrister Kunle Ushibogun, Young Progressive Nigerians Initiated. Thank you so much once again.
Meaning you have 2 Kunles.
Exactly. And of course, do not forget that to see the movie Avengers, all you have to do is take yourself a picture of you watching Galaxy Television and tag us at Official Galaxy TV, at Media Reach, and at Coca-Cola to win tickets, or just a ticket to see the movie. We'll do this same time again tomorrow. I'm Uche Onyekuluche. Bye for now.
And I'm Justin Academy. Many thanks for being a part of the show. Join us again tomorrow 10 a.m. when we'll be looking at health. Bye for now.